how can support workers prevent becoming burnt out themselves? How do we support the people who are doing the
Right.
supporting?
That's a lovely question. There's a huge amount of emotional labor in our field. Um, People enter the field because they care deeply. They're very, very passionate. Um, and hopefully they have kind of a solid critical social justice framework to understand that the individual has a role to play, but also the structures at play are deeply discriminatory and oppressive to particular groups in civil society. So it is attempting day in and day out is that individual, group, and structural work, and that has huge labor. It is exhausting. It can lead to compassion fatigue, to burnout. Um, so I think one of the one of the I think best ways that an organization can can support staff is by being deeply intentional, strategic on supporting their employees, and that means, you know, intentional check-ins, intentional time off, intentional team meetings, intentional um, trainings and educational leaves, and uh, uh, kind of helpful supports and strategies that will allow workers to feel that they're not alone in all this. That I think burnout it tends to kind of be facilitated quite or experienced quite quickly when you really feel that you're carrying all this. So, for example, the clinic we do morning and evening check-ins with our staff. We have supervisors that make sure that our students are doing okay daily, allowing communication to flow, allowing people to take time off. We know this is a huge amount of caring, this type of work, and it's tiresome. It is frustrating, especially housing workers these days. Is it people feel so stressed and strained, and actually one of the findings coming out of my COVID study is just how broken this the nonprofit sector seems to be now. They were so strained prior to the pandemic, but they've just been in the front lines for a year and a half, and with actually very little acknowledgement. So they just feel so overburdened. Um, I think, there's a lot of discussion around, people exercising, eating well, yoga, doing sports. I mean, all those pieces are great and that should be definitely supported. But uh, leaving leaving the strategies to the individual is, I think, very unfair. These are very, very these are organizational structures that are so overwhelmed, and I think um, I think we have to be very, very cautious, very careful. I find students love when we take days off and we do, different educational training pieces, or we allow kind of. Here's a great example, by the way. There, all my staff were feeling quite overwhelmed about a month ago. We were just coming out of a third lockdown. Felt like we had huge waiting lists, so we kind of worked together to think through how we can manage a little bit the waiting list, how we can kind of tell other resources that we need to catch our breath a little bit. So we found out strategies that could kind of get everybody to breathe a little bit. And I also consistently tell staff that um, a lot of these issues that we work on will not be solved overnight. They will take time, and it's hard. It is deeply hurtful when you see someone else suffering and you can't do anything. So a lot of conversation, a lot of discussion, a lot of allowing employees to have their voice as well, and to figure out ways that can kind of make at least the environment that you're working in more trauma informed and more collectively supportive.